Welcome to Imagine Laserworks and our 21st century technology to help you eliminate one of the most powerful addictions in the world. Before I begin, I'd like to go over with you the zero tolerance rule. If by the usage of any nicotine products, such as the gum or the patch, if you have just one puff of one cigarette, cigar, anything with nicotine in it, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, or 20 years down the road, mark my words, you will instantly be addicted again. You will go right back to your regular consumption rate, and you will be fighting withdrawal symptoms all over again. In other words, absolute zero tolerance. You know the rule. The story of your life from now on will be one puff away from a pack a day. Now that that's out of the way, nicotine works this way. It is said to be 6 times stronger than a heroin addiction. When a person introduces nicotine into their body, it goes directly to the brain in 6 seconds. That's twice as fast as mainlining heroin. When it hits your brain, it fills up feel-good receptor sites on the brain that were normally full of endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals or opiates. Endorphin internal, morphine external. Endorphins are morphine-like chemicals. An example of an endorphin release or rush is runner's high, jogger's high, a good physical workout, or a good belly laugh. The nicotine fills up those key receptors and blocks the flow of endorphins. It basically puts the endorphin production onto the back burner, where it takes months to come back up to normal. When you quit cold turkey, there's no nicotine or endorphins. The endorphins are long gone and you feel the pits. Basically, you can become fully addicted with only one cigarette. Once you're hooked, your mind says, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Unfortunately, it's too late. Your brain is addicted. And whenever the mind and brain are in conflict, it's usually the brain that wins. You cannot reason with the brain. It's a physical organ and it works on pain and pleasure. It loves the stimulation of those receptor sites. That's why it's so frustrating. Even though you want to quit, you keep going back to it. You become a slave to the addiction. To make this addiction even more complex, your mind, in order to live with the addiction, creates an addictive personality. We call him IGOR. IGOR is that part of your mind or that little voice that craves addictive substances. You probably say to yourself, I'm going to quit next week, or this is going to be my last cigarette. I'm not going to inhale anymore. It's IGOR that says, let's just finish what we've got here and we'll quit on Monday. You know that little voice, don't you? We know that in order to defeat this addiction, you will need to address every aspect of it. The physical part, endorphins. The psychological part, IGOR. And a detox, getting rid of tars, toxins, and nicotine as quickly and safely as possible. I'll explain each of these in turn, as each one is very important to your success. Let's begin with the physical part of the addiction, the endorphins. Sometimes people try other methods to quit, such as the gum, the patch, Zyban, or Champex. I'll go over each of these in turn as it's important to know why they don't work. First, the gum. Most people say it's like chewing on a dirty old rotten ashtray, plus it gives you canker sores. Believe it or not, there are some people out there chewing this stuff for 15 years or more to try and quit. Yuck. Then you put the patch on. Your skin turns red. Boils and blisters around the patch, bones aching underneath it, dizziness, nauseousness, headaches. Sometimes you're even smoking while you have it on. How about the smokers that come in here with 2 patches on? Or you take the patch off, you go outside, have a cigarette, and come in and tape it on with duct tape. Doesn't stick anymore. Get a load of this. The success rate of the gum and the patch, less than 7%. That's the first time you try it. The second time you try either of those products, there's a 100% failure rate. Hold on a second. Quitting cold turkey is 11%, which means it's 4% less than trying to quit cold turkey. Do they tell you that when you buy it? No. Do they ask you if you've tried it before? No. Do you know why? It's probably because the major shareholders in the gum and the patch are the tobacco companies, and they don't care one way or another. You're still supporting them. Both of those methods are like telling an alcoholic who wants to quit drinking to switch from scotch to vodka. So then it's off to the doctor's office for a drug called Zyban. Oh boy, Are we in trouble now or what? The chemical name is bupropion. The clinical name is Wellbutrin, and it's used as an antidepressant to treat schizophrenics. When they found their patients starting to die from heart attacks after taking it, we better do something quickly. These people are all dying from this stuff. You know what they did? They changed the name again. Let's call it Zyban now and give it to the smokers. They're all going to die anyways. Health Canada reported 10 years ago that 19 people had died in Canada, 67 in Great Britain, and the success rate is less than 19%. We now have a new pill on the market called Champex. Best way to describe this little pill is simply go on the FDA website and check out the long list of dangerous toxic side effects. For this reason, laser is the therapy of choice. Here's a drugless therapy. It's safe, and it uses the body's own chemistry to defeat this addiction. It's also used in the treatment of heroin, cocaine, and alcohol addictions with incredible results. Low-power laser is used on key energy points of the body to stimulate the release of those natural feel-good chemicals called endorphins. The effects will begin immediately, build up from 12 to 24 hours, level off, and slowly dissipate over the next 4 to 6 weeks. This opens a big window where cravings are minimized or non-existent. Most people say to us, if I can get an edge on this addiction, I will have it beat. Well, how about a 4 to 6 week edge where cravings are minimized or non-existent? Remember, you have one puff of a cigarette. The nicotine hits your brain in less than 6 seconds, faster than mainlining heroin, and blocks the flow of endorphins. It knocks the endorphin production offline, where it takes months to come back up to normal. By stimulating key neurochemical pathways on the body, the pituitary and the hypothalamus, we get your brain to release those endorphins again in very large amounts. The effects build up 12 to 24 hours, level off, and slowly dissipate over 4 to 6 weeks. Now that we have the physical part under control, where cravings are minimized or non-existent. Was that a craving I just had? We need to immediately move in on our old pal IGOR, the psychological part. IGOR comes from a part of the brain located in the brainstem. It's a physical part of the brain that craves addictive substances. Most people don't recognize this little voice. Although some people do, they have different names for the voice, such as the caveman, the beast, the parasite, or the monkey on their back. Drug and alcohol clients call this voice the devil, or Satan, or the demons. The basic idea is to recognize the little voice. Once you do, your addiction is over, period. You see, it's very hard to deal with something that you don't know about. Now that you do know about IGOR, watch out. Remember, it's IGOR that wants you to have another cigarette and come and see me tomorrow. It's IGOR that says, hey, you've been so good now, you've been 2 weeks without a cigarette. You can have just one puff. That laser guy's pulling your leg. Let's just have one puff and we'll go another 2 weeks. Let's go that route instead. The Rational Recovery Program, that is taught around North America as an alternative to AA and professes a much higher success rate, teach their clients one basic principle: addictive voice recognition. By simply recognizing that little voice, your addiction should be over because you now can get back in control and deal with IGOR. Rational Recovery calls that voice the beast. Alan Carr, in his Easy Way to Quit Smoking material, calls this voice the nicotine monster. We call him IGOR. So recognize IGOR and tell him to back off. Remember, it's IGOR that got you trapped in the first place. Nice guy. You know what you're going to do with IGOR when he comes around. It's called deep sixing. Another way to label IGOR is to use the T rule out of the Rational Recovery material. Every time you say to yourself, I want to have a cigarette and become an addict again, put a T after that. And instead say, it wants a cigarette and it wants to be addicted again. Separate the mind and the brain. You can figure out what touches off your cravings or what triggers IGOR to want to have another cigarette. Once you understand the irrational beliefs behind your feelings and behavior, you can change. Smoking is always a choice. Every time a person smokes, it's IGOR that says, screw it, do it. Identify that addictive voice, become conscious of it, and recognize it as the enemy. One client of ours said it very nicely. I thought I was beating myself up all those years over this addiction. Now that I know I'm going to be beating up on IGOR, watch out. To give you a hand dealing with IGOR, this is all recorded on a CD for you. This CD is designed to do two things. First, it's going to create what we call a psychological double bind, which puts you back in charge instead of IGOR. This causes the mind to take on a no retreat, no surrender attitude. The psychological program is developed to have an impact on a person's survival instinct. We know that if we can tap into that resource, the mind will do whatever it takes to bring the addiction to an end. You can listen to this CD as often as you like during the transitional period to help you stay on track. When your mind links the idea of being a non-smoker with enough pleasure, you will change. Secondly, the CD has special neural conditioning techniques to help you neutralize thoughts and feelings concerning smoking as you retrain your mind to live a happier, healthier life without cigarettes. So there's no need to worry about trying to remember everything I'm saying here. It's all written down and recorded for you. Next, studies show on an average it takes 28 times to break a bad habit. This means, what am I going to do for the next 28 times when I would have had a cigarette in my hand? Remember this, when your mind replaces that negative habit with a positive habit, you will change, such as eating something crunchy, going for a walk, or phoning up a friend. You will change. Remember, 28 times to break a bad habit. Let's see, something crunchy. Do you like carrot sticks? You know, the ones in a Ziploc bag? They are the same size as cigarettes and a huge source of fiber. Fiber binds to tars and toxins and fat molecules. It helps to clean the body out. You might like them more after you hear this. An interesting study came through our office the other day on smokers and carrots. Smokers that ate carrots at least once a week compared to smokers that ate no carrots. The smokers who did not eat carrots showed a 3 times greater chance of developing lung cancer compared to smokers that ate carrots at least once a week. Carrots are a good bet. Also, when a person comes down from nicotine, their body becomes extremely acidic. Celery is one of the most highly alkaline foods on the planet and is exactly the opposite. It will help neutralize the acidity of the body. We recommend carrots and celery everywhere you go for the next couple of weeks. You've got them in your fridge, on your counter, in your pocket, in your car. Wherever you go, you have your substitutes. You can twist them in your fingers, chew on them, throw them out the window like a cigarette butt. They're biodegradable and they don't start fires. If you get that urge, or better still, if it gets that urge to have a cigarette, immediately go outside and take a quick, deep breath of fresh air. The first couple of times that you do this, you may get dizzy. That's because you're breathing in oxygen now. Go for a quick, brisk walk. They say that a quick, brisk walk produces the same effects as a cigarette, so get going. Go get the mail, clean the driveway, take out the garbage, or take the dog out for a walk. After dinner is usually a good time for a cigarette, so get up and start doing the dishes right away. Mopers and complainers have a hard time. Movers and shakers have an easy time. Again, make this happen and get going. You've got places to go, people to see, and things to do. You can pick up your phone, call up a friend, or give us a call. We will walk you through the steps, or if needed, we'll get you in for a booster. I have a better idea. How about if you go outside for a quick little business meeting with IGOR? You know how that meeting is going to go. Here we go again. You've been so good now, you've been 3 weeks without smoking. You can have just one puff, that laser guy. Besides, your friends are all going down into that manhole for a cigarette. Come on down and join us. Just one puff, that's all we need for now. Your response. Well, you know, IGOR, I know that's not the case. I know that if I have one puff of one cigarette, I will go right back to my regular consumption rate. I will be fighting withdrawal symptoms all over, and I will go right back to being totally addicted again. Besides, it stinks down there. It's ruining my health, and it's costing me nothing but money in that manhole. Is that what I really want to do? Feed you again and be a lifetime nicotine addict all over? No way. I'm going for a walk instead. So you have your all-important business meeting to attend. Another very important tool to avoid any cravings is to concentrate on something or someone special for a couple of minutes. You see, cravings are thoughts in your head that last on an average 2 to 5 minutes. If you get a craving, say to yourself, I'll wait 3 minutes and then see how you feel. It's called the 2 to 3 minute rule. Do something else for 2 to 3 minutes. The craving will usually subside after the 3 minutes are up, and you will usually be distracted by something else during the wait. The best way to do this is to take a picture of someone or something that you really enjoy being with, kids or grandkids, or a good hobby that you really enjoy. Put some action in it, some excitement, something that you enjoyed doing, something that gave you a lot of pleasure, and plant this picture good and solid in the back of your head. Now, if you get that urge, or if it gets that urge, immediately blink your eyes and concentrate on the picture. Because the mind can only concentrate on one thing at a time, and cravings only last 2 to 5 minutes, the craving will vanish. Someone said it to me nicely once, "You mean cravings only last 2 to 5 minutes? Well, if that's the case, I can deal with IGOR for 2 to 5 minutes. I'm sure you can too." Recapping: recognize IGOR, tell them to back off. Listen to your CD. Get your substitutes ready, your carrots and celery. Go outside for a quick breath of fresh air. Go for a quick brisk walk. Pick up your phone. You've got a quick little business meeting to attend, and now you've got a picture in the back of your head. This brings us to the third part of the equation, the detox, and the importance of the detox. Most of our clients have seen the pictures or heard of all the chemicals in cigarettes. In today's world, over 5 million in the world die from cigarettes each year. The Surgeon General in the US warned us 40 years ago that smoking cigarettes was hazardous to our health. Well, 40 years times 5 million per year, that's 200 million people, and that's just since he first said it was bad for you. Today, there are over 4,700 dangerous, toxic chemical poisons in cigarettes. These poisons consist of tar, toxin, nicotine, arsenic, cyanide, formaldehyde, butane, ammonia, lead, mercury, and on and on and on. Why on earth would they stick 4,700 toxic chemical poisons in one cigarette, where it's now said that one cigarette is equivalent to 10 minutes off your life? What we want to do is eliminate as much of these poisons as quickly as possible before this laser treatment wears off to prevent what is called the rebound effect. The rebound effect comes into play 3 weeks down the road when you have not done a proper detox. Right out of left field, there's IGOR. To minimize this occurrence, we recommend a simple vitamin detox. The first one on the list is vitamin C. Vitamin C stimulates your circulation, helps repair the damage, helps detoxify you. When you go for a walk with your friends, you're huffing and puffing. That's your heart, and it's having one heck of a job pushing the blood through those clogged up veins and arteries. 1,000 to 3,000 milligrams minimum per day. Vitamin C helps reduce cravings, it stimulates your circulation, it helps repair the damage, and it detoxifies you. If you have a serious craving, take some more vitamin C. The second one is magnesium. Magnesium helps calm your central nervous system. No up and down mood swings, no irritability, no grouchiness. This is a major concern for a lot of our clients. I'm not going to quit because I will be so miserable, irritable, and grouchy. In fact, my family can't live with me, and they can't live without me. Sometimes a family member will say, "I'll go buy them for you." In this case, please pass the magnesium. The third one on the list is chlorella. Chlorella is classified as a superfood. There are 5 superfoods in the world: chlorella, spirulina, blue-green algae, wheatgrass, and then barley grass in that order. Chlorella beats them all by a mile, and it's at the top of the list. Chlorella is a single-cell freshwater algae that is the fastest growing plant in the world. This plant is said to be billions of years old, and apparently it was a Mayan staple food. Chlorella, being the best food in the world, has some amazing properties. In it, you will find every vitamin that the body needs, in the right order and the right concentrations. When we get our foods nowadays, there are no vitamins in them anymore. They come in a can or a bag or a box, and then we overcook them, destroying whatever vitamins were put in there. Our brain senses the lack of vitamins in the food and says, "We better have another piece of pizza." In this case, with chlorella in our diet, our brain simply says we're full, and your food bill goes down. You're now eating quality versus quantity. We overgrow our crops on the same land over and over. There are no minerals left in the foods anymore either. Chlorella has all of your minerals in it, again in the right order and the right concentrations. Chlorella contains all the amino acids essential for the nutrition of animals and humans. It has twice as much protein ounce per ounce as beef. Chlorella has 12 times more DNA than sardines, and they were thought to be the highest source. It has actual DNA-RNA repairing abilities. It helps repair the burned out DNA in the lungs. It has a unique item in it called chlorella growth factor. This is unique to chlorella. We have pictures in our office of chickens being fed a diet of 10% chlorella in Asia. These chickens are twice as big as regular chickens. This does not mean that you'll be twice as big as you are. It means your hair, your teeth, gums, fingernails, skin all grow properly and naturally as they are supposed to. Wow, chlorella growth factor really is the fountain of youth. Chlorella is named after chlorophyll because it has the highest amount of chlorophyll of any plant known on earth. This is what makes a plant green and helps to clean you out. This chlorophyll will help eliminate the 4,700 dangerous toxic poisons from the cigarettes in your body. Therefore, chlorella is a key detoxification tool. So we have vitamin C for stimulating the circulation, detoxifying, and repairing the damage, magnesium, smooth sailing, and chlorella, cleanup crew. Now for the nicotine, we need to address this one independently. Have you heard of cream of tartar? When they make wine, it's the leftover white substance in the barrel, and it's used in making lemon meringue pies. You may already have some at home, or you can find cream of tartar in the baking section or bulk section of the grocery store. Starting tonight, mix 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar in a glass of citrus juice, orange juice, grapefruit juice, or pineapple juice. Make sure it's not from artificial, and drink it every night for 7 nights. The cream of tartar mixes with the citrus juice, goes into your body. It breaks down into a molecular form and binds to nicotine molecules. It is supposed to strip the nicotine out of the body in 7 days. In other words, 7 days from now, you will have no nicotine left in your body, and therefore it will be impossible to have a physical craving. We are here to win. You see, when you win, we win. For the next week or so, you may have a metallic taste in your mouth. You may cough up black stuff. Not to worry, this is tar coming out, and you don't want that in your bronchial tubes. What you want to do now is drink a lot of water for the next 2 weeks or so. The more water you drink at this stage, the faster the tars and toxins will be removed from your body, and therefore the less cravings, irritability, and insomnia that you'll have. The best way to do this is to pack your water bottle with you everywhere you go for the next 2 weeks. You have a substitute and you're rinsing out toxins. In other words, the more water you drink, the faster everything will go away. As the treatment starts to wear off, what you want to do is stimulate your own endorphins the way they were before you began to smoke. Remember back when you were a kid, running, jumping, playing, joking? You felt great. Those were endorphins. Get them going again naturally. We suggest our clients go for 3 to 4 brisk 45-minute walks per week for a couple of weeks. You know what it's like when you go for a brisk walk. You don't feel like having a cigarette, but you have one anyways out of habit. So get going. If it's raining, go walk around the mall for a while. Like I said, mopers and complainers. If you have any problems, the first thing you want to do is listen to your CD. Then take some more magnesium. If you still feel nervous or antsy, give us a call and come in for a free booster. Boosters are available within 8 weeks if needed. As many as you need within 8 weeks. Most people don't need boosters, including hardcore 4-packers. People that have been smoking 60, 70, or 80 years, people on their oxygen machines. We get them all, and most of those people only required 1 treatment. However, if you open up the manhole cover again, knowing that it's a very slippery slope, we will get you out again. Unfortunately, what has happened is that you have reintroduced nicotine onto your receptors again, and we need to re-stimulate the endorphins in greater amounts and therefore more laser dosage. There's a very minimum charge to do this within the first 4 weeks. After 4 weeks and up to a year, there's a reduced rate to get you on the right track again. Whenever you have a complete redo, you're entitled to a full 8 weeks of complimentary boosters from the day you had the redo. These prices are designed so that you look long and hard at that cigarette and say to yourself, this is going to be a very expensive cigarette. Hopefully you won't go there. Instead, we'll come in for a free booster. Now let's talk about some of the good things in life, such as coffee and alcohol. Most smokers drink coffee, so you will need to be very careful around caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant, and it stimulates cravings, even an hour or so later. Be careful. We are not here to quit drinking coffee. We just need to be aware that it goes hand in hand with cigarettes. If you have your cigarette and coffee outside, you can now have the coffee inside. Sit in a different chair or read the paper. Do something different to break the habit of coffee and cigarettes. Do you have a glass of wine or a glass of beer or any alcohol? Again, cigarettes go hand in hand with alcohol, and alcohol is the number one reason for people to go back to being a nicotine addict. They get relaxed, and IGOR starts to look and sound pretty good. You know what it's like when you have a drink. You feel like having a cigarette. Alcohol is the number one reason for everyone to light up again. Let's leave it at this when it comes to caffeine and alcohol. Forewarned is forearmed. Be careful for the first couple of weeks or so. Our success rates with this program are 85 to 94% right off the bat. We have trained doctors, nurses, chiropractors, and other medical people from around the world on our laser protocols. Most of these people have spent upwards of a week to 2 weeks in our center observing our methods. You see, we not only deal with smokers, but weight loss, drug and alcohol addictions, stress, insomnia, and depression. The point behind mentioning all of these people is very simple. These doctors, nurses, and chiropractors are very busy people, and they would not be doing this if it didn't work. They have done their research, and they know that this works. They wanted to find out how to do it, so they came and saw us. They then went forth and multiplied. Now remember, I said 85 to 94%. I didn't say 100%. So what happened to the 10 or 15% that didn't make it? Simple. Mom brings in her 17-year-old. Here he is. He's been smoking for 2 years. Can you nip it in the bud? No, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't make anyone quit. You have to want to quit for number one. That kid is going to go outside, go across the street, see his friends, and light up again. Husband and wife come in. She tells us he's been smoking for years. He stinks. Let's do it now. No, she's going to waste her money and our stats are going to go down. That's a no-win situation. You have to do it for number one. Then we get the phone call from the manhole. 3 weeks later, boy, I sure felt good with those endorphins. I didn't have any cravings and I didn't feel like having a cigarette. However, I'm trapped again and I need your help. Okay, come on back in. We'll get you going again. What happened? Well, someone hit my truck, T-boned me. So the guy offered me a cigarette. I put it in my mouth and lit it. Did it help? No, not really. Unfortunately, now my truck is wrecked and I'm smoking again. That's called stress, and it's the second most common reason for people to light up. So let's have a look at stress for a minute and see what good old Spock would say on this one. You know the guy with the pointed ears. It's logic. If cigarettes get rid of stress, then why are smokers the most stressed out people and still so stressed out? It's simple logic if we analyze it. When you put a cigarette into your mouth and inhale the 4,700 toxic chemical poisons into your lungs, the nicotine goes directly onto your feel-good receptors faster than mainlining heroin. They fill up those key receptors that were full of endorphins and knock the endorphin production offline, where it takes months to come back up to normal. At the same time that you did that, you filled up your lungs with formaldehyde. You have cyanide in your brain. You have ammonia in your kidneys. You have all these toxic chemical poisons in your body. In fact, 100 times a day, maybe 200 on a good day, you load up your body with 4,700 chemical poisons. You don't feel the effects of the poisons because your receptors are full. Whether it's nicotine or endorphins, they're full. Unfortunately, half an hour later, the nicotine starts to leave the receptors. I don't feel very good. You're right, you don't feel very good. How can you feel good with all those poisons in your body? At this point, you will probably want to go out for another cigarette and load up your receptors again. Try stopping a smoker from going out for a cigarette. Good luck on that one. That person will probably ignite. He will literally blow up. That's because he's starting to feel the effects of the poisons in his body, and there's not a lot of nicotine left on those receptors. There's no endorphins. They are long gone. And you start to feel the pits. Out you go again to fill up your receptors. Around and round we go. In this case, we electronically stimulate the endorphins with a soft laser and electrical stimulation. The endorphin levels build up from 12 to 24 hours, level off, and slowly dissipate over 4 to 6 weeks. A big window is opened where cravings are minimized or non-existent. During this opening, we need to deal with IGOR. Was that a craving I just had? He was around 100 times a day, and now he's only there once in a while. You can deal with him. Now that cravings are minimized, you might want to pick up some substitutes, such as carrots or celery. Go for a breath of fresh air. Go for short walks. Pick up your phone. You've got your business meetings to attend and the pictures in the back of your head to take your mind off of cigarettes. You will probably want to clean out all the poisons from your body by doing a simple little detox and by drinking a lot of water. That's how it's all done. Have you told anyone you're coming in here to quit smoking? Most people don't tell anyone. Are you crazy? I've told them all 100 times before that I was going to quit. I never made it before. What makes you think this time will be any different? Well, this time is different. You don't smoke anymore, so the best thing you can do is set yourself up so that you don't go down in that manhole again. What you do is tell the world that you've quit smoking today. Tell all of your friends and relatives, hey, guess what? I quit smoking today. You won't believe this, I don't smoke anymore. Today's my day. Tell them all, everybody you know. What you're doing at this stage is setting yourself up so that you don't fail. It will be a lot harder to have a cigarette if all your friends and relatives know that you've quit smoking. Then leave it alone. Here's what's going to happen in 3 days from now. I'll tell you exactly what will happen. One of your smoking friends will ask you how you're making out. You know why it will be a smoker that asks you how you're doing? It's because misery likes company and you have abandoned a sinking ship. Your response at this time is short and sweet. I'm now a non-smoker. It's the best thing I've ever done for myself, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.